10,
9, 8,
7,
6,
3,
2,
1.
0.
Hello, and welcome to another wonderful day of Hyperdash in the Dash League world here. We got an exciting matchup here between TBDi and, well, it looks like TBDi now because of the teams haven't fully registered yet.
TBDi versus TBDi.
TBDi versus TBDi.
Has taken the lead.
So it looks like they're just doing a warm-up deathmatch here. But in the booth today, we've got a great casting lineup. I'll let them introduce themselves while I try to fix the sound here.
Hello everyone, my name's Notgollum.
What's up, Nabius? You guys don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey everyone, this is Gatsby. Been a minute, but maybe some older players will remember.
Heck yeah. This is a great lineup, just like Kastle said. I'm honestly looking forward to this match. A lot of the later cycles in general seem to have a lot better matchups between all these different teams. It's a lot more exciting seeing a lot of these teams that are much closer together really playing against each other.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice matchup. TBDi versus that's definitely close to each other. But
I think, I think within the rankings, the sprinter tier matchup, and I think it's 18 versus 21, so not a whole lot of separation in MMR, and that's the nice thing about the later cycles is you really kind of see all that data come together, and the matches tend to be very competitive.
Do any of you guys have any sort of background or input on either of these two teams?
I definitely have some experience with TBDi. They were a pretty early Dash League team, and kind of started working with obviously TBD, now known as D. So you've got some experienced vets. I'll be interested to see what their lineup is. But Heisenberg, Amasfala, they're definitely one of those teams that really embraces the idea of the teamwork being their primary focus versus just individual killing, which obviously you'd like to have a combination of both, but it's cool to see those teams that are really embrace the greater than the sum of their parts mantra in terms of how they play. So I think that you'll especially see that versus a newer team like HAXX. You might see some more deliberate coordination, especially like say on a payload where a newer team is still learning how to gel together.
Most definitely. Looking at some of the past matches for both of these teams here, just looking at the data, not thinking about how players are feeling on a certain day, which is definitely a contributor to how well a team does. I'm gonna have to give TBDi the advantage here, just based on past matchups. Both teams have played against teams like Fury and other teams like Fair, and TBDi has won those matchups. Seemingly pretty solidly, probably making a lot of good use out of that teamwork that you were highlighting earlier, whereas HAXX has struggled a little bit against some of these other teams, so they're going to have a bit of a uphill battle, I would expect, during this match here. That'll be interesting to see how they deal with that.
Yeah, HAXX just on the MMR alone is kind of on the fence between Walker and Sprinter. And there's a lot of contributing factors that come into that, whether it be previous matchups where you've got a kind of unfortunate draw. But it'll be interesting to see if HAXX is going to approach this with aggression. I think that ultimately, especially if you're going up against a more veteran team, sometimes the best thing to do is just, especially right off the bat in the first map, try to just smack them in the mouth, get them on their heels a little bit, and see if you can create a little bit of chaos. Because with these organized, experienced teams, sometimes the best thing you can do is do something unpredictable that has them scrambling for a little bit. And if you can do that for long enough, you may just give yourself an opening to steal a map.
Most definitely. If you can mess with the organization of the organized teams and get that mental advantage, that's another huge contributor to a lot of these matches I've noticed, is the mental game. If you play your cards right, you can punch up surprisingly well in a lot of these Dash League matches.
Okay, for sure. Do we have any information on what maps will be played, or is that still being released?
We're gonna go through it right now. All right, that's actually a perfect segue into our team animations, and then we'll do maps after. Once again, applause to Firehorse for these animations.
No kidding.
Yeah, the level of professionalism that's reached Dash League now with these animations and the casting tools and all of that is really pretty tremendous.
Yeah, a lot of work into there. It's really nice.
We've got the overall map pool. Next up, the maps for today. It looks like we're going to start out likely with Launchpad, followed by Waterway, and then a Stadium if it comes to it as a tiebreaker. I've noticed a few teams have been starting out with the Domination map. That would be Waterway today. In general, though, the trend seems to be to start out with the Payload. It's a little longer. You can kind of get a handle on how the other team plays, since you have that time to push over and over and get a lot of group organization in a row. Whereas with Domination, usually things can go pretty quick if your teamwork falls apart too early.
For sure. Yeah, that was something I remember season 0 when maps were still being added in and kind of the standards weren't set. I always pushed for Payload first for a couple of reasons. Because one, if you get off on the wrong foot, you have some time to adjust. If you played a Waterway map and everyone was just a little shaky, you could find yourself 0-3'd in a blink of an eye, and that's not something that you want to experience. But also, if you do have that advantage, especially if you're able to be pushing cart right off the bat, and you can gain that advantage if the other team is not quite warmed up, you can get yourself, an extra couple of minutes of push time with that initial run on Payload. So it just feels like the safer option, and can kind of be a tactical thing too. It helps you set up your offense or your defense for Payload.
It seems
absolutely.
like both teams are grouping up for a group photo here. That was fun to see.
Yep. They reached out to me earlier about it, so got a little screenshot there to send them later.
What were you saying, Nabius?
I was saying the map is longer too. If people are warming up a bit better than in Waterway, if they get trio on Waterway, it's pretty fast. You don't have really time to get into the mood,
Yeah.
Pretty standard map lineup that we have here today, though. Launchpad, Waterway. I think that one was a control plate, right? So it's pretty standard lineup.
I still hope that we see Triangle Factory provide another Domination map.
I've been asking for that forever, man. Please.
I know. It's Waterway is such a great map.
Mhm.
And I do enjoy playing Quarry every now and then, although it really isn't at the top of my list. I think just the variety of, now with Abyss, Payload maps that we have, it's so great. It just feels like we're missing a third Domination map that's maybe a little bit of a balance between the speed of Waterway and kind of the slugfest of Quarry. Something that's a little bit more balanced between those two would be really cool to see.
Quarry and Waterway really are kind of opposite ends of the Domination spectrum, aren't they? Quarry has so many sectioned off areas, whereas Waterway is completely open throughout the entire map. You can snipe from your button to the enemy's button. That's part of what makes it so fast.
I think it would be interesting to see something kind of similar in the style of Waterway, where you have quick transfer paths with rails between points. But maybe a little bit more complex levels and like tighter corners. So it's you can do a little bit of the run and hide of Quarry, but you can still move through the map very quickly. I think that would be a fun dynamic to see, and I'm always a big fan of levels. I think that there should be like 4 or 5 levels that you can hit on any map, just to really challenge that the vertical aspect.
Absolutely. Here we go. Match starting up. HAXX v TBDi.
Prepare
Looks like we got
to
HAXX starting off on red defense. They're going to be trying to stop the cart here. TBDi going to be starting out pushing the cart as the higher MMR team is almost always going to start on blue. I believe that's the rule for this season. As the higher MMR team has to push the cart first. The opening here is going to be very indicative. I say this almost every time I cast, but very indicative of how the rest of the match is going to play out. If TBDi gets a very quick clear on HAXX before HAXX can really stop the cart at all, that could mean that TBDi might carry that sort of momentum throughout the entire rest of the map. Conversely, if HAXX is able to keep a little bit of a hold here, even just like a few seconds, that's, I would say, a good sign that they're going to do well throughout the rest of the map once they finally get spawn advantage. Although so far it's not looking good. Spala getting some good kills there at the top of shield room.
Yeah, Spala is real experienced, good pistol main. And then you got Heisenberg, who I'm not sure if he still does, but was always a shotgun main back in the day. And you can see that experience there. They're guarding all of those entry points to make sure that when the red team does roll through, they have pretty much immediate damage on them.
Unfortunately, it looks like TBDi had a decent defense, but HAXX was just able to plow through it with almost the entire team.
Satan Slayer doing work there.
Did she got rammed up? I thought she got rammed up.
Think TBDi almost has control once again, although HAXX making good use of that rail, not staying on it for too long.
HAXX is doing a nice job of approaching from 2 different positions and then also running past the cart, not just pushing up in front of it, which means that TBDi kind of gets dragged away from looking at more players approaching. Really useful to kind of slow that cart down on that initial turn.
Absolutely. The 2 best ways to clear the cart are either to kill the person on it, obviously, but also to just pull attention away and make players want to jump off it. Make them feel like the cart isn't safe to be on. And sometimes you can see the experience in a lot of teams seeing there's a threat near the cart, but being able to confidently stay on it anyways and get that extra bit of movement, even though they know they're going to die. That's where a lot of the coordination and teamwork and communication is important. Good flank by Spala.
Doing good disruption.
Clutch kill on the rockets. It's a great spot too, because now if they're able to drive that down closer to the SMG bridge, that's the big spot to really be able to that you want to take the rockets down, because that's where HAXX can really just bombard with rockets and shut that cart down. Good recovery, E9 and looks like Michael Speen making some good work there.
Most definitely. It seems like kill for kill, HAXX and TBDi are fairly even. However, I was going to say that HAXX needs to start putting a red player on cart to slow down a lot of those micro pushes TBDi has been getting. But that's what they're doing right now. I'm loving to see it. Oh, good double tilt.
Triple. Nice work there.
And there's one teammate on cart. It doesn't look like Satan Slayer was aware of that. Good movement by Gold Mema. And another player on cart. Satan Slayer keeps looking away just a little too late.
Ooh,
Satan
good
Slayer another kill. Oh yeah.
Typical.
Grabs the health. HAXX is a decent setup here. Gold Mema disrupting, trying to pull attention away. Is that Vanguard with double rockets there? Through the tube. Good rockets. I like this pre-firing of the shield room and trying to curve that rocket in towards the doorway.
Oh.
If we look on that second cam, we can see how accurate Vanguard is with those rocket curves towards the health pack. I believe that's what they were trying to clear from the bridge. That's something you can see a lot with some of the top Rocketeers. There's a lot of shooting around corners where no one can see you, because the big advantage of the rocket, of course,
if Amos can push him,
yeah,
he might be able to do another push here. They group it up. No, they ain't grouping up yet. Oh, there we go. Disruption in the back. Ice trying to get Vanguard. Nope.
And something I liked about
a little bit of push.
What I liked about this disruption is
it was too close to the payload.
They didn't get the kill on rockets, but they made the rockets step away from the cart, and TBDi was moving at that entire
And
time.
immediately jumped on it.
Oh, that's good. Good move.
Yeah, it's
Good point,
it's that delicate balance. You have to make sure as a team that you're trying to keep your Rocketeer up, but you can't drag everyone out of position to do that. So when they push, it's got to be one or two, but everyone else stay dedicated on cart. Nice checkpoint.
Good job. What is that? A minute left? A minute 15
Yeah, a minute left. Yeah.
All right, very solid pushing by TBDi. They've been pretty consistent throughout this entire map. Hopefully they're going to pull that all the way to the 100% check mark. HAXX, meanwhile, is going to need to step it up a little bit in order to slow this cart down, especially as it moves up the hill after the turn after this one. That's kind of a defining moment in the post-checkpoint part of this map.
I would love to see TBDi double stacking this cart here. I know that there's a lot of people have different views on this, but it's this first, 120, 150 feet after the checkpoint, where if you can just breeze through it, a couple disruptors up front and double stack it, it'll save you so much time on the back half, where it really slows down through that, what I call kind of the canyon up at the top of this ramp. And they're doing a good job, but they could already be further along if they were dedicating a couple bodies to the cart.
I
think they're doing
absolutely
more
agree.
disruption, that's why they keep pushing though. Got good disruption over there.
Yeah. And so they got the second guy on the side, which is not necessarily. Ooh, my.
Oh, there we see a couple shotgun pistol like
And
the
the-
steel lately.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm a follow though, cleaning it up. Nice
Vanguard
work.
the
They got
rocket.
Vanguard back to the
Oh,
rock.
nice!
Good
That was
curve.
unexpected.
Another hit on
that
cart.
curve. Oh,
That's
yeah.
2 kills. Can they stay up though?
Yep.
Rasmataz freaking out of bullets. Stayed alive. Vanguard still got the kill.
That was hilarious. Remember
All the way up.
want to be able to get killed? Nope. And that new layout is really, really awesome. I really like that new layout.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to see the dashes and the health of each player really helps us to understand some of the decisions players might make.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Kill on the
can see their
rockets
KD
there.
when you're spectating the guy, you can see their KDs. That's perfect. Just really good job by Firehorse.
Yeah.
TBDi moving the cart once again. Satan Slayer goes for that dash, gets distracted, and taken out. TBDi is still moving that cart. HAXX needs to pull something together to stop it. It looks like they did just now. But TBDi is moving it once again.
Briefly.
D9 went for that pickup and got taken out by HAXX.
They're doing
And
pretty
TBDi
good
is
job.
still moving.
Middle.
Making great time right now.
Oh,
30 past that bridge.
got trucked there.
Like TBDi is playing very close to the cart, very defensive, trying to make HAXX struggle for every inch they try and take.
Yeah, they made great time up that hill, and I think part of it seems like HAXX is really only taking one approach to cart, which is almost entirely main rail. So when TBDi hits that cart, they've got one on and one kind of defending the sight line. Really hard to just approach that on the main rail every single time. You got to shake it up. You have to make them look behind them in order to really push through.
Looks like TBDi is getting another group push here. HAXX give them lots of space after they took control of that cart. I like these flanks that HAXX is setting up here.
Mm-hmm. Now this is always a difficult balance when a team is really driving through and it's already reached this point, and they're at the 86 mark, 330. That's a solid time. I'm not sure if they're going to necessarily hit 100%, but they're gonna definitely drive this pretty close. But HAXX needs to make sure that they're not just sitting back and waiting for each group up. It's going to be so much harder. They're going to get incremental pushes over the next 3.5 minutes if they just sit all the way back. They gotta push up, disrupt those group ups a little bit towards TBDi's side if they really want to slow this car down.
Every time you have advantage, you have to keep that advantage for as long as possible. That's something that TBDi has been doing great during this match, and HAXX seems to be struggling a little bit with so far. Good clear on cart though.
Again,
So HAXX has advantage.
it's that like we talked about, that pushing someone onto their back foot. This whole area right here should be contested by HAXX, but they're not. They're just kind of taking little pot shots from distance.
Right now.
So TBDi gets to send 3-4 through, and then it's just a matter of how many feet can you get on cart, how many more inches can you push it, and it's unfortunately not. It's not going to shut them down as effectively as I think that they would like.
And you can get players like Dubos that are completely behind HAXX's main line.
Look at that! Look
Good
at that! They got
kill.
2 around cart.
Very nice.
Fortunately, doesn't get more kills.
Yep.
Good defense.
Man, these
by Van Fleet.
SMGs,
Yeah.
SMGs have really changed. Finally a good gun again. It was so overpowered early on, and then they nerfed the heck out of it, to the point where it wasn't even really worthwhile. And now it's back to being a long range killer again.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful that it's not even like overpowering. It's great with people who know how to use it, but it does have its drawbacks still. And that's something you like to see with all these power weapons, is that they have a role to fill. Like watching these very long sight lines from behind cover. That's something Vanguard seems to be doing great right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Been seeing that in control point too. Far back, they're taking the Uzi and they snipe the button. It's working.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that role on control point, but maybe we can talk about that if we hit a control point today. There's some players that I think get some nice stat padding, but I think a lot of times it doesn't necessarily result in their team winning that control point with the long range pistol sniping or SMGs.
Control point is all about the speed, and then you gotta take those guns, and it takes time. So
yeah,
get kill,
it's time, and it's also reducing the number of players you have around the button to control it. So if you take literally 20% of your team out of that picture, it's a little rough. So we got 40 seconds left, and they're at 89%. This is actually kind of a key moment here. Well, I guess there's probably only time for 1 or 2 more pushes at best. But if you can get all the way around that turn, it becomes a little bit easier to push that cart, because the spawn on red does not allow them to immediately start putting damage on the team as they hit the cart.
That was an important double skill, triple kill by Satan Slayer. Killed the Shocks and killed 2 other TBDi players. This push.
Yeah, another headshot there. Good job.
This push is effectively stopped. TBDi now has to desperately make it to cart on time for overtime. Good flank by Satan Slayer, playing very controlled.
Shut down. Ooh, Amaspala was right there. Probably,
That was a
didn't
key
have the dash
moment.
to make it.
If Slayton Slayer didn't take out those Shocks so early, TBDi might actually be moving the cart right now. Well played by both teams, though. We'll see how HAXX does on blue team.
So we got Amaspala and Goldmemba both at 39 kills, with Dubas top scoring, and then you got D9 at 31 and 40, but you got Satan and Michael Speen are the 2 top scoring for HAXX.
Even KD all over at HAXX. You can see 31, 33, 33, 30.
Oh yeah, a lot of the scores over on HAXX are a lot more balanced. I wonder if that is kind of going to change around as we get a dedicated cart rider, maybe a dedicated rocketeer or 2. We'll see what happens. As I said earlier, the opening of a very defining moment for how the rest of the cart push might go. If HAXX is able to get a good clear here. Razmataz bounced along that high rail. Wasn't able to do anything with those shotguns. There's still a HAXX player around the cart somewhere. Good clear. HAXX able to replace quickly though.
NC, ooh, High is just hiding in there.
Oh, I'm getting 3 kills.
Brutal.
Oh,
4 kills.
4 kills.
How many more can he get? HAXX needs to prioritize stopping this guy.
They've got 3 in that spawn house.
Oh, damn. They gotta take
HAXX
care of
also
that
really
shot.
can't afford to stack the cart here as long as Heist stays alive. He's going to get so many
There
kills.
you go.
Good kill by
Good.
Satan Slayer.
Yep. Taking care of that,
Alright, yeah, the question is if they have it cleared at this point. Oh no, Raz is still over there. They've been running that loop multiple times, and it seems like HAXX is just not able to track where they're slipping behind.
This is still very early in the match, but already it's not looking good for HAXX at this rate. You remember that TBDi was about halfway down the hill
Exactly.
this part earlier, and HAXX is only just now approaching the hill. Good long
and
range.
you've got Dubas up there with the rockets, and this is the difficulty because I think that HAXX knew that based off the distance earned by TBDi, and they've got 2 sets of double rockets up now. They knew with the distance reached by TBDi that they were going to need to do some double stacking of the cart, maybe some triple stacking.
4 rocket coming down the
Good lord!
payload.
And
But
important
TBDi
for...
is so aggressive that it's almost impossible for them to actually put multiple feet on the cart at any given time.
An important note for the audience also, the colors of player names are correct, however the colors of the teams are not correct. TBDi is red right now, HAXX is blue. An issue with the website API we're using right now. But just wanted to note that.
A lot. Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot.
Alright, they're double stacking it now. Let's see if they get some, there we go. Good kills by Michael Speen. Yeah, that's what he needed right there.
Just about reached the bottom of the hill, still about 30 seconds behind standard time, but if they can keep this momentum here and not let TBDi flank the cart too much, they might actually make up some of this lost time. Good flanking by Rasmus has Vanguard just takes him out. I think that's a white. Alright, how's HAXX group ups? This is an important moment here since TBDi has such spawn advantage and can see the cart so early out of leaving spawn, whereas HAXX really has to trek just to make it here. So far good shielding and movement on the cart there. TBDi still set up around it.
And this is such a great example of that experience watching Amaspala there as he's rotating, and they're very intentional rotates. He's rotating between all of the different points of entry that HAXX can have towards cart and making sure that they're always covered, and that flow is really good. If you don't have all your players up, you need to make sure you're still covering that shield room entrance, the main rail, kind of utilizing the flank as much as possible so that you can break up any significant groups or pushes.
Absolutely. It looks like HAXX is trying to group a little bit in that shield room. There's only one player in there pushing out now. Rocket's making that difficult to move through that doorway. How is HAXX going to deal with this?
2 minutes definitely doable, but they need to be more aggressive on these Rocketeers. You got to keep in mind that if they've got 2 sets of rockets up, yep, there we go. There's an opportunity to really just get in their face, as opposed to trying to take them down long distance.
And unfortunately with that group there was a push on the Rockets. The Rockets were pushed back. They were only just now getting to seeing the cart, but there were no other players backing it up. D9 gets a good kill there.
2 kills, 3 kills.
Picking up by Gold Member. The cart's moving.
Huge.
This is good momentum. Minute and a half left.
Yeah, now this is doable. They've done a great job of catching up here.
No kidding.
They might be the same time as TBDi did. They were at 150.
Michael Speen trying to follow up on the cart quickly.
Yeah.
TBDi keeps stacking it. You got to kill that red player before you can move.
Oh!
At this point, I'd like to see them actually pause a moment and get a little bit of a group up. It doesn't have to be everyone, but 2 or 3 at a time. Because right now it's just 2v2s on that cart, and TBDi still has that spawn advantage. Oh, they're so close. And really,
minute left. Oh, good kill on the Rockets. D9 on there. Satan Slayer tries to follow up. Checkpoint.
They got it.
There we go. Not too far behind TBDi's time.
That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's only about a 20 second difference. So there was a huge catch up there, and it was right there at that midpoint when they were able to get those rockets, both sets of rockets down.
Yeah, TBDi had a solid hold. Honestly, I was a little doubtful of HAXX being able to make checkpoint. They proved me very wrong today. And they're double stacking the cart too. That's what you were talking about earlier. They're really taking advantage of this early zone where they have such a huge spawn advantage, and TBDi has to fight tooth and nail just to see the cart.
And we'll see how they do in terms of disrupting on the way to the cart. So you already see Highs getting in, and now he's posted up nearby. So it's a gamble. But I think it's one that see, there's still people behind.
They can stack some people on the payload.
If you're gonna stack on payload, you've got to make sure that those people pushing up are 1, covering the pathways, and 2 are strong enough in killing that they're going to be able to take 1v1s and 1v2s here and there.
Looks like that was a difficult fight there. Amaspala waiting for those shotguns before he hits cart. He's got him. Was the wait worth it? Tries to clear shield room. Almost gets taken out by Michael Speen. Saved by the teammate. Grabs the health. Are they just going to be holding shotgun, letting the rest of TBDi really hold the cart? Or are they going for the flank now that they have the double shotguns? So far, HAXX has no sort of foothold around the cart. TBDi has all the advantage.
Looks like he's just looking to shut down that pathway, which is not the worst idea. If you can make the pushing team one-dimensional in terms of how they can get to cart. Oh, missed those shotties. There we go.
Nice.
For the second time.
And extending some of these fights, honestly, is good for Red Team. As long as the Rockets are able to consistently hit cart, you really don't have to worry about the cart itself. You want to pull as much focus away as you can.
Yeah. And at this point, the HAXX has lagged behind once again. There was a few cart stops there, and specifically there was a couple of times where they're fighting in the area near cart, and they probably had mostly control of the area, but no one was on the cart. They're focusing on that kill first and then hitting the cart. You kind of got to make sure you're fighting from the cart at this point, especially if you know that you're dragging behind in terms of time. Good work there by
Vanguard's focused on the cart. They didn't hop off just to get kills. They knew they were going to die, so they got as much movement as possible.
This is gonna be a tall order. Keep in mind that TBDi was actually through the archway at 3:30, so it's gonna take a
And as long as Dubas is allowed to keep getting kills like that, HAXX is gonna get pittance for movement on this cart.
Yeah.
Liking these rocket curves, looks like the payload is underneath the bridge. A good time to push rockets.
Oh,
Dubas gets taken out by Neilmac. HAXX, use this advantage as much as possible. It looks like he was trying to stack the cart there.
Oh, nice.
I like seeing these shields on cart too. Good flank by Heist. Looks like there was a HAXX member on the cart, but now at this point they've all been wiped, and they're just pushing up main rail by themselves. I don't really like this solo movement. You don't want to fight a 1v5.
When it's just a firing squad right down that main rail.
Although that being said, Vanguard is getting movement on the cart right now because HAXX was able to get a solid group up. Does he notice the one behind him?
Yeah.
Razmataz takes him out.
No, that was a good group up. I think you saw 3 of them roll through. The early pusher was probably lagging behind, but that's the kind of look. Okay, it looks like they're trying to group up at the bottom of the hill here a little bit.
And it looks like they have all 5 players.
See what we got here.
They're going.
I want to see some. Yeah, I want to see some variety in their approach to cart. No, it's too much of one thing, and I think TBDi has realized that, and they're just keeping all eyes on that main rail, hiding in some corners so they can get those picks.
Yeah, since HAXX is ignoring that triangle room that much, this is absolutely a viable strategy. Unless players like D9 are able to flank behind with Goldmember trying to control outside triangle, and hardly anyone else on TBDi was around cart during that.
Yeah, it looks like Razmataz is just doing a little loop around the triangle, and as soon as he sees someone hit that main rail, he just hops on behind them. And it's worked probably 5 or 6 times at this point, so why stop a good thing?
I like that double flank on cart. You had the rockets that really pulled the attention of that HAXX player, and then Amaspala behind getting the actual clear on cart. A lot of players are aware of the rocket timing, and if they have the dashes, they can get some movement on cart, hop off when the rocket's going to hit, and hop back on, but not with players like Amaspala in the shotgun flank.
Yeah, and this is such a brutal angle when someone's able to get double shotties up when the cart's right here, because you're blind to it, and you're also focused on those rockets straight ahead of you.
There you go.
Good kill by Vanguard with the rockets. But TBDi still has the advantage. Only 1 minute to make it 4%, and it's a long 4%.
Yeah,
underneath the sledge all the way to the corner.
I said a few times that I'm the devs made a great game. I'm not sure how much their math checks out in terms of percentages, because if that's 4%.
Definitely, yeah. Some percent are really weird.
I know on Canyon at
There we
least.
go. They got a couple moving in now.
Nice,
So look at this, look at this.
Wow,
Nice.
look at
Followed
that.
up.
Three
He's on the
people.
cart. HAXX needs to follow up quickly. Not quite able to get that last bit of movement. Only 20 seconds, less than 20 seconds for HAXX to move another 3%.
Flank, little flank. Is he able to get the kill?
All
Oh,
of this is
That
3%.
kill would have been huge if they were able to get it.
This is so much.
7, 6,
TBDi still
so
set
much,
up on cart.
so much main rail. Look at this.
Just riding that main
Yeah.
road, getting annihilated by TBDi.
There it is.
TBDi wins. Still a fairly close match, all things considered.
Yeah, for sure.
If HAXX had put more
Which
focus
is
on that
tough.
triangle room, they might actually have won this one.
You saw a couple nice little flanks there at the end, but it was just pretty intermittent. And I think that if HAXX has some really nice players and some good strategy there, if they just vary up their approach to cart, I think that you could see some success, and it would have been a lot more stress on TBDi as that clock counted down. But great work by TBDi.
And great work by HAXX too, all things considered. TBDi really showing their experience today, but HAXX still going at it. I'll be interested to see how this domination is going to go. Sometimes the kills can really make much more of a significant impact. Like, organization is still obviously important, and the way you play the map is important, but if you have 1, 2 great killers on your team, that can really make or break a domination map.
For sure. I think in this regard, it looks like we're going to see some substitutions happening. Monkey coming in for TBDi.
And in my experience, that's pretty common for a lot of teams, is you have specialist players who are good at either one map or one type of game mode versus another. HAXX especially seeming to swap out almost half their team, if not all of them. Brave Sir Robin even wasn't in the last map, right?
No, it wasn't.
No, he was not. Or had a great run
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah,
yeah, she did.
not killing, but almost all the kills we saw her get were significant ones.
Mm-hmm. And Vanguard, I can see why that substitution is made. Maybe a little more of a specialist in terms of heavies and rockets.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably track as a tactical shift. But I've always been of the opinion that you can make those lineups and those tentative lineups, but then after that first map, it's sort of you gotta make a gut call. If you have someone that's got their aim locked in, their movement locked in, sometimes you just want to ride that hot hand.
Yeah, that mental game you were talking about, a lot of the top teams know how to take advantage of that in that regard as well.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, do you guys have any predictions for Waterway? How the score, do you think, overall is going to go? I noticed on the last map, TBDi was pretty heavily outkilling HAXX. Despite that, HAXX brought it somewhat close to where TBDi made it.
It's a
How do you
tough
think
one.
that's
Probably the
this?
teamwork there, so I don't know. I would go like that'd be a tight match. Probably they will go like 1 point, 1 point, 2 point. And
Yeah, I envision this one being pretty closely contested as well. I think that a lot is going to depend on who HAXX is bringing in here. The lineup for TBDi, once again, very very veteran. I think you're bringing Monkey in as well, who's been around for a long time. Again, their teamwork is going to be really good, but Waterway does lend a little bit more to just how good you are at killing. Some of that long range accuracy, pistol sniping, aggressive movement, things like that. So I could see this being an opportunity for HAXX to really just not overthink it, just kind of push all out and keep this competitive and close to the very end.
Yeah, like you said, Waterway, especially even more than Quarry, rewards aggression and pushing the enemy team back and kind of clogging up their spawn. It rewards that sort of moving forward with good in-game awareness.
Yep, absolutely.
However, if we see too much rail riding, I can see TBDi ending up punishing that, since it is very easy to predict movement on a rail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got to be really deliberate about those actions moving in the open spaces.
Looks like Chanel is in the lobby. Unfortunately, doesn't have the HAXX clan tag. Going to go fix that. And then I believe the teams will either have a discussion or they might both be ready at this point.
We'll see.
TBDi at the very least seems ready. They're just hanging out in the lobby with our drone. Are you able to set up the grab drone? Is that what they're doing now? I really love that feature.
It's a pretty solid one. I would love to see this waterway go the distance. I don't think there's anything more fun than a waterway that goes full time. Just the game state change that happens because the energy level and the what's the right word for it? The amount of effort you have to put into playing a waterway, especially at a competitive level, is something that people are used to having a game that runs 12, 15 minutes. As soon as you get into that mid-20s in terms of the time, your focus starts waning a little bit because that effort has been sustained for so long, and it's really interesting to see how that changes. See how teams adjust or how they take advantage of those opportunities, because almost instinctively play styles change a little bit. The game slows down a little bit. The aggression slows down a little bit. And so without even realizing, you can kind of have a game flipped on its head. Absolutely. Hopefully both teams have their core strength up to par. Practicing some breathing exercises in case this ends up going longer and it's difficult to secure any points. Hopefully they've got their headsets charged too, and maybe some battery packs plugged in.
Yeah.
Waterway is the most entertaining for me because the strategy is so much more fluid and open than what you would do on Quarry or what you would do in any payload. There's not as many specific, for lack of a better term, plays. And it's a lot about adjusting to what the other team is doing in terms of pathways taken, how aggressive they are about hitting the button, how they're hitting the button. Are they button holding? Are they smacking and running? And so you can see the game state shift over the first few minutes as the teams make those initial adjustments. And so you can see one team kind of go out to a strong lead and it feels like they're really dominating. And then that can flip on its head if the other team recognizes, okay, they're taking bottom B or they're pushing right rail consistently up to the top and adjusting to those things to meet them and stop that aggression.
Here we go, match starting.
3, 2, 1, go. Blue takes C.
Even more so than payload, I think the openers on domination and waterway of all maps is very significant because you can get a quick point. I believe one of the fastest games we've seen throughout Dash League history was D versus Onyx on this map. It only lasted a minute and a half or so.
Look at that.
Gets a quick point.
Yeah.
That was quick. That opener by HAXX was huge. TBDi really has to change something up here.
And you can see the aggression that they're playing with here, and you can see the kind of the lack of that, so to speak, from TBDi off the initial. There was a couple of TBDi players just hanging out in the basement trying to deal with the push, and HAXX immediately arrived at the enemy base. They were immediately on point B.
That's probably
like TBDi has put HAXX in that, but
they put their best player at the waterway.
yeah, could be.
Some people are better at payload, some people are better at waterway. If you know where you're strong.
Yeah. Rocky J roll to a 4-1 right now.
TBDi has control of, has a player in HAXX's base at the very least, and has control of their own base. Needs B. HAXX has control of their own base once again. We're back to neutral. HAXX has control of B, and is pushing forward with a good team push. That's 3 players pushing forward. Another one following up on B. TBDi had control of B. 1 player skipped into HAXX's base. Can they get anything done? No, they get wiped. If you check that map in the bottom left, you can get a lot more of a bird's eye view of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strategically and advantage-wise.
Blue takes B.
Good defense by Dubas there.
Red
Takes
team
another player on
Red
B.
in, they got the countdown happening.
They've really slowed down HAXX's momentum here. HAXX trying to take it back now with an aggressive push onto B. There's 4 TBDi players on B though. Can HAXX get the wipe?
Red team
It's a bunch of 1v4s and 1v3s that HAXX trying to take on.
The countdown. Yes.
TBDi has a countdown. HAXX has 2 players up.
Oh, good
Counter. TBDi has a lot of players in HAXX's base, but isn't scoring at the moment.
Looks like they countered, yeah, they countered at both their base and TBDi's base there.
Blue takes A.
Looks like only Dubas and 1 other teammate are left alive in HAXX's base at the moment. HAXX briefly gets a countdown. Dubas trying to get some work over in HAXX's base. Hits the button.
Another countdown, here we go.
TBDi countdown. What can Dubas do?
Counter.
Another kill with the double shotguns. Can they grab the health? There's no health there. Goes all the way to basement.
Blue takes B.
Gets taken out. Looks like TBDi is getting control of B once again. And HAXX swinging right back. This is so back and forth. TBDi trying to get something done with the shocks there. That's something you commonly see to clear buttons, since you know the enemy team wants to hit that button. You're almost guaranteed to get at least a few kills.
It looks like TBDi, since that opening point, has made effort to specifically dominate the top of B, which has kind of led to a stalemate, and I'm curious about which team is going to be the first team to try to go either low B or just completely bypass B to force an adjustment. Because if they can just flood, say HAXX just floods bottom rail, TBDi's group ups at B are suddenly not as effective because they're not getting kills and they're really just holding a middle point.
Absolutely. Pirate Badger dancing all over the place in TBDi's basement. Gets taken out though.
Ooh.
Dubas playing defensively very well at the moment. Really keeping his point clear. Trying to let his teammates take control of B and push forward into HAXX's base. HAXX, however, keeps wiping B. Is sniping Dubas. Dubas grabs some health, tries to clear basement. Basement already clear.
Red takes B.
Goes back up, pistol snipe.
Dubas is
Monkey on
at
B.
18-2 right now.
Dubas doing his job very well.
Red takes B.
TBDi just not able to secure B. Dubas able to keep HAXX from pushing into his own base, but not able to help out anywhere else. HAXX, meanwhile, I don't know whether or not they have any dedicated pistol snipers. Based on the minimap, it doesn't seem like it. They're just going for max aggression, and that's allowing them to keep the advantage as far as who has what button. Also, TBDi is not quite able to punish that rail riding as well as you would like to see. HAXX making good time towards each point because they're able to ride rail so much.
1.
TBDi pushing into the base. Oh, and they got it.
Get the
Wow.
score. Second point for TBDi. Alright, let's see this opener here. Is
Who got
TBDi
that?
able
Yeah.
to counter HAXX's aggressive opener?
Blue takes C.
HAXX gets a quick rollout onto B. Good ride on the bottom rail by Amaspala. Good double kill by Amaspala.
Nice.
HAXX only has control of B at the moment, but is 1 player in TBDi's base.
Counter.
Looks like Amaspala is stuck in the basement at this point. No dashes.
Red team
Taken out by Rocky James.
Three,
Good work.
2, 1. Counter.
HAXX still needs their own button though if they want to get a score.
Red team scores 3. Counter.
Rocky James unfortunately struggling to get up to his own point. Gets taken out.
Counter.
Pirate Badger able to follow up. Good counter there. Takes out Amaspala. I like that head movement by Pirate Badger. Gets taken out for riding the rail. Chanel also riding rail. Follows up, able to get that B button. And then gets wiped once again. Michael Speen on B. Gets wiped.
Another countdown.
Countdown. There we go.
HAXX was completely
There
wiped.
it is. Wow.
TBDi has figured stuff out after that first point. This is game point. If TBDi gets 1 more point, match is over.
Match point.
I'd like to see HAXX utilize bottom rail a little bit more, just bypass B. TBDi is going so heavy onto B that at the best it's going to be a stalemate. And I think right now that a lot of, I think both points that were scored benefited primarily off of, and if you see them happening right now, Goldmember shutting that bottom rail down there a little bit. But I think at least one of those caps was because TBDi got a quick 2 or 3 kills on B at the same time that someone was pushing in for the final point.
Yeah, just like with the payload, if HAXX switched things up just a little bit, they'd have a decent chance of winning. Not just tying it up, but winning if they varied their playstyle a bit more. TBDi is just able to make changes a little more effectively than HAXX has been able to.
Oh, there's the countdown. Quick counter.
Looks like there's 2 TBDi, 1 TBDi in HAXX's base. I don't think HAXX is aware of that Goldmember's on their button. Gets the button, gets a kill. Good counter by Michael Speed. Can they take out another? Gets outdashed by Monkey. Monkey stealing the dash, stealing the health. And that's it.
Brutal.
Ooh. Well played
That was a
by Monkey
smart
at the end
play.
there.
Yeah. Wow. Quick point by HAXX right off the bat, but then TBDi just figured it out. They realized that they just packed B and won those 3v1s essentially is what they were getting consistently on B. Then they would have an opportunity with the HAXX still spawning to push into the base and finish it off.
No doubt, and that's a sign of the veteran team, the very experienced team, able to make some of those calls on the fly. And that ended up winning them the day. Although well played by both teams, we could see Rocky James top scoring over on HAXX with 5,500 points. Monkey almost getting to 6,000 here in such a quick match. Well done. Well, that said, this was a pretty exciting match and fairly close in different respects, all things considered. I like watching this. I look forward to seeing how these teams play in the future.
Yeah, great play on both sides. Looking forward to seeing how, especially HAXX takes, games like this against more veteran opponents and is able to maybe steal little bits and pieces that they had going against them and just sort of refine those strategies just a bit more.
Once again, everybody, make sure you leave a like on the video. Helps spread awareness for this Dash League that we all know and love so much. And love commentating over, love playing. Also, go ahead and keep an eye on the calendar for future games that'll be casted later this week. I'm unsure if there's any later today. There might be.
I think there's
but
one more Fake versus Fury.
Yeah, go ahead and check that out.
Awesome.
So that said, I've been Notgollum.
I've been Kastle.
Then
It's
Nabius.
Gatsby.
Well, thank you for joining today. We're going to sign out here, and you guys have a great rest of your day.
Goodbye, man.